And as you take your comfortable seat this Thursday morning yoga class, let's settle in to our bodies and our breath. Feel into our bodies this morning. And as we start, notice how grounded you feel. Do you feel grounded, or do you feel like you're kind of floating in space? Do you feel agitated, or do you feel calm? Do you feel awake and joyous, or do you feel a little heavy? What are the emotions and sensations mixed together inside of you? And then feel into your intentions for this particular class. How do you want to feel in the sensations in your body and in your emotional being? And can this class help you to get there? Part of that question depends on where we put our concentration. What would you like to concentrate on? Dharana, this class. Can this concentration become a mindfulness, a meditation that you can come back to throughout the practice? Dhyana. Now invite the pranayama practice, the breath practice, to infuse your intentions, your concentration, moving them into meditation. Breathing into your center, into your pelvic bowl, your low back, your belly. Grow your roots down into earth. Grow your roots down into water. Let yourself settle into awareness of your connection with this planet. And then from your roots in your center, let your intentions grow skyward. Fill your circumference and expand you. Like a rhododendron bush, filling with leaves and then buds and then flowers. Now, for a moment, tune into your mind and your current perspective on your own life. The twists will move into this practice or an invitation to look through different perspectives at our bodies, our movements, our breath, our lives. And so let's begin with this exercise. Inhale your hands to your heart. Feel yourself in this moment right now. And then exhale and gently twist to your right. Don't force it too hard. Just gently let the spine and the head and the eyes twist. Your eyes can stay closed if you'd like. And look into your past. How does your past influence your current perspective? Feel into that past and how it filters into you now. Now gently turn back forward into this present moment. Let yourself be here now. And ask yourself how much you want this past history to influence you in this current moment. Now gently begin to twist to the left. Don't force it, but let your spine move throughout its length. Let your eyes turn in the direction of your twist and look towards your future. How does the future impact your perspectives now? How much is your future impacted by your past? And then exhale back to the center, to this current moment, to this breath. These are choices we make as we breathe in the present moment. There isn't a right or a wrong. There's a development of consciousness of the past, the present, and the future, and of our choices. Let's keep all of this in mind and let it filter through us throughout the practice. Namaste. Okay, let's come to standing. And let's begin with a little shaking and a little bouncing and a little releasing in this present moment. What is it we'd like to let go of? Perhaps it's tension in the upper back. That's where some of mine is. Feel into where yours is. Maybe you lean a little side to side, lean a little forward, lean a little back. Where do you want to let go? And is the stiffness there because of physical realities like a workout you did yesterday or some gardening or some crafts? Or is it there because of an emotional reality? You're tightening your shoulders or your chest because of stress. What is it you want to let go? Lift one leg and shake a leg, and lift the other leg and shake a leg. Ah. And then let your arms gently float around your body. Release the arms out of the shoulder girdle. Let the bones traction. Swing. Let your front hand come up and tap your lung, and your back hand come up and tap your kidney. Fluid breath. Filling the whole circumference of your torso with breath. Feeling into this present moment, into this physical body. Release the arms and let them swing again. We're working with mobility of the spine, with fluid motion. We create more of that if we set our feet wide open and rooted on the ground. We have soft knees. We're conscious of creating a stable center at the pelvis. It doesn't mean it doesn't move. It means we're conscious of the movement. Let swinging slow. And bring your hands beside your hips and inhale. Lift the heart into a wave, opening the heart. Let the arms float around. Hands come back to back into your hissing cat position. And pause. Breathe into the back body. And then on your next inhale, lift the heart. Come into heart opening extension. And then exhale into your flexion. And we inhale and exhale at our own pace. And we may bend the knees and reach the hands low and come deep, or we may stay high and work in the upper spine. You decide what is right for your body. Don't let the ego take over. Listen to the messaging from your physical body. What does it need from this movement? And then come back to center. Bring your hands to your hips and let your hips circle. Warming up the hips this morning. Take your circles the other way. Good morning, hips. Come into your figure eights and let your arms join in. Forming your figure eights in front of you. Feeling into the hip tissue. How far do you want to stretch wide? What happens if you take it a little narrower? In a way, I get more of a stretch if I take a little bit smaller, tighter figure eight. It's interesting. It's those closer in muscles between the greater trochanter and the hip. And so maybe you alternate or you try different ranges of motion to get into different aspects of the hip tissue. And then pause the hips and wrap the fingers around the thumbs and circle your wrists. Circle your hands at the wrist, circle the hands skyward, and then circle them the other direction. Bring them wide. And turn your knuckles down. And then turn the arms over, turn your knuckles up and down and up and down and up. And unfurl your hands, thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky. Stretch the hands. Furl back up, pinky, ring, middle, index, thumb. Turn your knuckles up, bring the hands forward. Turn the knuckles down and up and down, opening the fascia of the forearms and the hands. And then release the hands and inhale a sun breath, drawing energy into the body. Inhale another sun breath, breathing into the full circumference, and then reach the left hand skyward away from the left foot, right hand skyward away from the right foot, and open the myofascial web of the body. Oh, just stretch it open. If we want to perform twists with some spaciousness around the spine, we want to open the fascial web, the four corners, so that we have more room for the spine. And then you might reach out at your diagonals. Reach out at the horizon. Reach out down at a diagonal. And then roll one shoulder up, down, and back, and the other. Stretch across from the opposite foot and point the toe. Feel into the fascia around your shoulder blade as you move the shoulder. The subscapularis sits on the front of the shoulder blade, and it's one of the most frequently injured rotator cuff muscles, along with the supraspinatus. So we want to open and stretch that tissue, hydrate it. Maybe you reach an elbow skyward. And if any of these motions don't feel good because of a shoulder injury, please don't do them. Open the arm, modify for yourself. Stretch the hands open if you're reaching with the hands. Point the toes, stretch, cross body. And release. Lift. Let's step your left foot forward and your right foot back, rock step. And let your feet land and fly your wings up. And exhale, left hand to right hip, right hand around your back, and inhale back to center. And exhale, twist the other way. And inhale. And don't force a twist at the beginning of practice. Don't worry, we'll twist throughout the practice and we'll open more and more. Remember, if you have osteoporosis, then we don't want forced bone-on-bone compression because that causes microfracturing. But if you do not have osteoporosis, that bone-on-bone pressure can help you build bone density. So different movements for different people in the room. We do want to hydrate the discs even if we have osteoporosis. So there's a fine line. We don't want to stop moving. In daily life, we'll be side bending and twisting. So we want to learn in the yoga practice to do these movements with care. Twist towards your left hip and pause. Breathe in and just feel into the body here. Look out the far left corners of your eyes. And then exhale, release back around and switch. Right foot forward, left foot back, rock step. And float your arms up into wings and exhale, right hand towards left hip. And inhale to center and exhale, twist the other way. Come back to these questions of how the past influences the present, how the future influences the present moment, and what choices you want to make about how you live in this present moment. And twisting to the right. Pause. Breathe into the twist as your eyes look out the far right corners. Now here, remember, those of you who are not dropping the back leg femur bone forward, you're hugging that back into the back of the pelvis without hyperextending the knee. It may make you twist a little less, and that's okay because you're stabilizing the pelvis. And release. Let's come to the wall. And let's begin today at the wall with our fingers up high, lifting up onto the balls of our feet and slowly lowering the heels. Breathing space between each vertebrae. Inviting the fascia to stretch on the inhale and release as the pelvis weights the spine. Fluid breath. Come up onto the balls of your feet again. Walk the fingers high. And as you lower the heels, think of stretching between the vertebrae, creating more length in the rib cage, in the low back, broadening the shoulders, letting the head lift out of the shoulder girdle. And then let the hands roll down the walls so that fingertips are shoulder height and come into your standing cobra. Rooting your feet, lift up through your side bodies. From your outer hips, root into your outer heels, create the banks of your river and lift your heart. Root the tail, lift the low back rib ring. Lift the mid-chest rib ring. Lift the base of the skull away from the collar. And breathe into your opening heart. Breathe into this present moment. Concentrate on your sensations, your emotions, your feelings right here, right now. And release. Turn your back to the wall. Let your shoulder girdle open broad against the wall and release the humerus bones back long against the wall. Nod your head no. Come back to center, let the eyes rest in their sockets. And keeping the shoulders broad, put your weight on one foot. Take an inhale. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the sleeve of muscles along the spine, and lift the other knee. Breathe into your back body. On your exhales, root down with the standing leg and lengthen the spine. Some of you may be able to lengthen the lifted leg. Fluid breath, strong in the back body as you lift the leg. Don't let go of the shoulder girdles broad and strong. And bend the knee and step down. Switch your weight to the other foot. Four corners of the foot grounding. As you exhale and activate your core, float the knee. Some of you may be able to lengthen the leg. Keep strong in your back body against the wall. Keep strong in your low ribs resting back and your tailbone rooting so you can lift the base of the skull. Breathe space into the torso as you bend your knee and step down. Release your fingernails back to the wall and lean your body away from the wall like you're the prow of a ship. Really root your heels and reach your tailbone long down by the heels. Inhale, lift your heart. Now here, make sure you're resting your femur bones back in the hip socket. This is going to take hollowing into your pelvic core and lengthening the front of the spine. Breathe into a lift of the heart, stretch open of the front chest. Pause here. Invite space between the back vertebrae as well. We're not just crunching into the back vertebrae to open the front of the vertebrae. We're lifting each vertebrae away from the other, lengthening the spine. And release. And roll your shoulders. Turning around again, lift your fingertips high on the wall. Come onto the balls of your feet. Lower the heels and see if it's easier now to lengthen the spine. And walk back into your half dog. Now remember, if you have tighter hamstrings, it's okay to be more to pike up the wall. If you're longer torso or longer legs, it's okay to not come to parallel with the floor. Float one leg up behind you, Virabhadrasana 3. Come onto your fingertips. Now right here, flex the lifted foot. Press into the four corners of both feet. Spread from your pelvis to your shoulder girdle. Spread the vertebrae apart. Create space between them, strength underneath them. Release the shoulders away from the skull. Create space around the neck, and perhaps take your fingers off the wall, still floating. Some of you may bring an arm open like a wing instead. Two wings open, shoulder blades strong on your back. Your choice. Fluid breath and release to standing. Walk back in, lift your fingers up the wall. Come onto the balls of your feet as you lower your heels and pelvis. Stretch the sides of your spine. Lengthen the spine. And then walk back into your half dog. Float the next foot up. Toes point towards the floor. It's an internal rotation of the lifting back leg. Beautiful, Debbie. Fluid breath. Stay strong in the front line, along the front of the spine. Beautiful, Jill. Fluid breath. Long necks. Very nice. Good balance work, Sharon. And exhale, release, walk in, and take one more standing cobra. Hands on the wall, elbows to your sides. Lift the heart. Feel the strength of your shoulder blades on the back body helping you to lift the heart, but you're not throwing the femur bones forward in the pelvis. Beautiful. Fluid breath. Let your shoulders rest over your hips. Don't lean too far forward into the wall. Beautiful length, Jill. Shoulder blades on the back body. They help to lift the heart. Keep the neck long. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. And release. Come back to your mat in the center of the room. And step your feet wide. Now, if you're not doing external rotation, you could just pause here and bend the knees. If you are doing external rotation, you could turn your feet out and lower your hips. Bring your arms up into your cactus position. And exhale, pinkies together, cat curl the spine. Inhale, lift the heart open. So before we come into too much deep twisting action, we try to create an open spine all the way around the circumference. So right now we're moving through flexion and extension, inviting the tissue to become softer and more pliable. Come back to your neutral and reach the hands up, spread the fingers. Fist the hands and spread the fingers. We're opening the whole myofascial web. We're working the hands right now, working the arms. And then release your elbows wide again. Lift your heels and lower your heels. Lift your heels and lower your heels. When you do this work, you're moving lymph up from your calves back to your groins. Isn't that cool? Fluid breath. Now feel into your left shoulder blade. Take it around towards your right buttock. Fluid breath into your twist. Feel what tissue's twisting, stretching. Breathe into the opening that you want. And then exhale back to center. Take an inhale. Find your right shoulder blade. Let it guide you around to the right, keeping the left knee open. Fluid breath. Releasing the back of your collar, looking out the right corners of the eyes, and exhaling back to center. Let's step the legs together and pause with the breath. Okay, stepping your right foot forward, left foot back. Take your rock step again. Ground both feet. Open the feet. So your transverse arch from big toe to pinky toe is wide. And then bend slowly into the front knee as you hinge forward. Remember, we're keeping that back femur bone back in the hip socket so that we don't drop it forward and overstretch the front hip tissue. Now, while you're in this lean forward, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the sleeve of muscles around the spine, and hug in the banks of your river from the outer hips. Now maintaining that femur bone back in the back leg, float your arms up. Keep the femur bone back. See how keeping the femur bone back can make that back leg much stronger, much more a part of the pose, much more a part of your foundation. Now, as you inhale, lift each rib ring away from the pelvis, away from each other, and find a stretch in the psoas pathway. Remember that you can be hinged forward if you need to be. If it's too much of a stretch in the front pelvis, or if you feel like you can't come here without dropping that femur bone forward. Now exhale, hands through the hearts, bow forward into your humble warrior, open your hands, palms down. Find the shoulder blades broad and strong on your back, and lengthen the back of the neck. Feel into this breath, this moment, your intentions for the practice today, your perspectives. And inhale, lifting the arms one more time. Come into your chosen Virabhadrasana 1. Now it could be that you open the arms wide and take the head of the arm bones back because you want more of a chest opener, a heart opener. Some of you may keep the hands low, palms forward, external rotation of the arm bones. Some of you may lift the arms alongside the ears, wanting the side body stretch. Do what's right for your body. Exhale, hands to the heart, mountain pose. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Feel into this body in this moment. Step your left foot forward, rock step. Grounding the feet as wide as you want them to be as you bend your knee forward, making sure it doesn't go forward of the ankle. Hinge forward and draw the back leg femur bone back into the hip socket. Stabilize down into the four corners of the back foot. Maintaining that, take an inhale. Exhale through your straw, lift through the pelvic floor, lengthen the sleeve of muscles around the spine, and float your arms up into whatever chosen position you have. Breathe into your heart. Breathe into the intentions you have for this practice today. Fluid breath. Can the base of the skull lift away from the shoulder girdle? The shoulder girdle lift away from the back chest ribs. The back chest ribs lift away from the base from the top of the pelvic rim, from your sacrum. Exhale, hands through the heart, bow forward. Keep that back leg very stable as you lean forward over the front leg. Open your wings, palms down, thumbs out. Feel the shoulder blades on the back. And lengthen the whole spine right up into the skull. Fluid breath. Look down at your front foot, standing here, rooting for you in this moment. And one more time. Inhale up into your chosen Virabhadrasana 1. Really grounding with equal strength into the back leg, keeping the head of the back femur bone back in the pelvis. And exhale, step your feet together, mountain pose. Okay, let's come to a seat on our chairs. Please bring in your yoga strap, and you can actually just drape it across your chair. Bring in your blocks to the front of the chair seat, and come to sitting. Open the legs wide. And let's begin with a side body stretch again. Inhaling the right arm up alongside the ear. Now remember, we can stay with the hand here and just bend the elbow. As we side bend, we want to also keep the left side long. And if we decide to, we can come down to the forearm. We can lift the right sit bone up off the chair and then reach the right sit bone back for the chair. We can do that a few times, finding the stretch. Fluid breath into the right side body. You may want to pulse the heart skyward and earthward a little bit, finding the stretch that's right for you in your body. Now remember, if shoulders are an issue here and it feels like that's not healthy for you, you can play with the shoulder and arm in different positions. You're working on stretching the side body, which I can still find even with my shoulder down or midway up. Fluid breath. When we come out of a side bend like this, we want to support the lumbar spine and not put too much bone-on-bone pressure. So we exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, activating the transverse abdominis to flow back up. And then we take the left arm up and we inhale into the length, wherever that may be for us. Like I like starting on high and just pulsing my fingers away from the reaching sit bone. I can get quite a bit of stretch right there. I don't have to go lower. If I go lower, I want to make sure I'm not compromising by forcing vertebrae together down in my low right side. So I lift the left sit bone off the chair and then I reach it wider towards the left and back down. And exhale, heart towards the earth, heart towards the sky, if that feels good. Some of you may just want to pause and rainbow the left arm over and breathe. So I'm inviting you to explore your own inner landscape with gentle movement and breath. And then exhale and float back up to center. Fluid breath. Now feel how you can draw the femur bones back into the pelvis, how as they sit down, they sit back, and your legs can be a little narrower if they need to be as you fold forward down towards your blocks. Inhale into the length of your spine. Let this be a hip opener. So this is what we are not doing. We are not doing this. We're not cat curling to get there. So if the hinge is just still high, we may put our hands on our femur bones. Here. The important part is to be opening the hips, lengthening the spine. Some of you will take your blocks lower and wider and come forward into a wide-legged seated downward dog. These stretches here are very good for those of us with scoliosis because they help us to lengthen the side curves of the spine. Fluid breath. They're good for all of us, but I just want to throw that in for those of you with scoliosis. Fluid breath. Notice your attitude towards different poses. If some of the poses become to you, you're like, oh, yay, I love this one. And others are like, oh, no. Fluid breath. And what would it take to make the oh, no poses a little more palatable? How do we work with our perspective? Let's exhale and walk the blocks back in right underneath our face. They can be on medium, low, or high. You could even be on fingertips. Float the left shoulder blade onto the back ribs. Breathe length into the spine, and as you root into the right hand, make sure you don't hyperextend your elbow. If you'd like to, inhale and lift the left wing. Keep the femur bones drawn back into the pelvis. Fluid breath. So you may want to splay the right leg out in order to get the left wing up. Keep integrity in the pelvis. And exhale. Release your left wing. and float your right wing out to the side, right shoulder blade onto your back ribs, rooting your feet. Inhale, lift the right arm. Breathe into the fascial tissue in your torso, releasing the collar away from your ears, relaxing the jaw. Fluid breath. And then exhale. Release the lifted arm and float up. Pause in your mountain pose. In your seated pose. The purpose of the physical asana practice is to help us quiet our minds. Okay, let's stand up out of the chair, even with your strap still on it. Let's turn the chair around so the back of the chair faces forward, and take your legs to the right. And inhale your hands to your heart. Rest your eyes back in their sockets, your hyoid bone into the throat. Rest your head back. Slowly begin to twist from the base of your spine up, like you're walking up a spiral stair. When you get to the point where you can drape your fingers onto the chair back, or the sides of the chair, feel free to do that. Now don't force a torque, just allow the arms to support you as you explore the twist. Breathing into the tissue of your body. Remember, any stretch is going to be better for the body if we don't force it to a point where the body grips back. So feel into your own range of motion around your spine. Breathe into creating space in the tissue. You can turn the head and look out the far left corners of your eyes. Try resting your chin gently down towards your sternum. See if there's a stretch at the base of the skull. Invite the breath to massage you open from the inside. And remember, twists are beneficial for your intestines and for all your organs in the abdomen. Exhale and slowly unwind and take your legs around to the left. Inhale, lengthen the sleeve of muscles around the spine. Rest your head back, your hyoid bone back. Exhale and twisting from the base up like you're walking up a spiral stair. Let the arms come around. Really use the right shoulder on the back as a guide. And it may be that you only twist part way. That one hand just rests on the top, the other hand lightly holds the side. It may be that you can twist more like an owl. Farther isn't better. What's best is to feel into the tissue, to have a good relationship with your body and ask it what feels right for you today. I'm not going to let the ego override your messages. Which might mean you come out of the twist a little and then head back in, finding that perfect place for the breath to massage you open from the inside. Breathing deep into the belly, into the tissue of the back kidneys. We're inviting prana to flow through the twist, through the abdomen and the intestines, kidneys, the stomach, the liver. And exhale, release. Let your head just bobble on top. Notice if as you twist the muscles of the spine, if there's a little bit of a release between the skull and the vertebrae at the top of the spine. A little more motion, mobility. Okay. Let's stand up and pick the chair up again and turn it back forward the way we usually do. And let's come into a high-seated Marichyasana. So bring your blocks up and place your left foot on the blocks and your right leg long. Okay, we're going to start up on high. You have your strap on the back in case you get there, but we're not using it yet. Left leg on the blocks, right leg long. We're going to reach the left arm to the inside of the left knee, and we're going to press the forearm against the knee. And we're going to stay seated tall and broad across the shoulder girdle. Breathe into the length of your spine, and remember those anti-gravitational rings at the navel, at the lower ribs, at the chest, at the collar, at the chin, and at the eye. And let those lift you and lengthen the spine. And then open your right arm like a wing. Find your right shoulder blade. And you can reach the left arm forward a little as you twist to the right. Keep pressing the left knee into the left forearm. Now exhale, unwind a little. That might be what you want to go back to. Some of you may be able to lean slightly forward and bring the humerus bone down against the knee. And exhale, open the right arm and reach the right hand into your twist. Some of you will be able to continue to hinge forward so that the left hand comes down towards the floor. Keep hugging the left knee into the left arm and breathing into the pose to notice where your body's tight and where you might want to let go tension. Our bodies hold past tension, sometimes for years and years. Each breath is a chance to let that past you want to let go, go. And we exhale, release the right wing and unfold. Okay, let's take it to the other side and then we'll come back for the deeper position. Place the right foot on the blocks, the right forearm against the knee. Feel into your left heel and open your left wing. You're sitting upright. You're broad across the shoulder girdle and long in your spine and inviting the breath to fill your circumference. Fluid breath. Now unwind that wing and decide. Do I want to lean and hinge a little forward from the hip and bring the humerus bone against the knee? And open the wing again. Breathe into the length of your spine. Breathe into the circumference of your torso. Maybe you hinge a little farther, maybe not. Notice where the breath can massage you open. And if you imagine here, you can twist towards your intentions. You can open the perspective to see possibility. Breathe into that. And then exhale. Release the left wing and unhinge. Okay, let's take the blocks back under the left foot. And you have your strap back here if you want it. So you can come to any of the previous positions, or you can hold the strap and lift your left arm up over the knee. The left palm will be facing to the right. The right palm will be facing to the right. And you can open the right palm and use the strap to help you stretch the pose open. Fluid breath. Only do it if it feels okay in your body. And then exhale back up. Okay. So the next version would be to bring the right, how do I describe this? Your left arm around so that it holds the strap the other way, so that the left palm faces out to the left and the humerus bone comes over the tip of the knee. The right hand comes around your back like it's wrapping and the palm is up, and then you hold the strap together in your hands and you lift the right shoulder skyward. Fluid breath. Now, as you hinge more forward, you're getting more into a little compression in the intestines and the lymph system of the abdomen. You may feel that, how one side is compressed and one side is open. This helps circulate energy when we release the compression. Take a few breaths into the abdomen. And then exhale, release. Okay, let's take the blocks to the other side. First, we hold the strap open and just lift the right arm to the inside of the right knee, open the left arm behind us, and let the strap help us stay open as we hinge. Fluid breath. It can just help us become more aware of our wingspan. If we press out a little into the strap, you may feel muscles around your armpit and shoulder girdle activate, helping build consciousness in the body. Then we exhale back up out of that rendition, and we take the other pose. So you bring the right arm forward around the knee and take the strap in the hand, palm facing away from the body. Take the left hand, palm facing away from the body, around to hold the strap. We lift the left shoulder, broad across the collarbones, taking the twist a little deeper into the abdomen. This is not required. If you're twisting on high and that's better for you, just breathe into irrigating the tissue. Fluid breath. Hug the right knee into the right body. And exhale and release. Okay. Let's take the blocks out of the way and take the legs long. So you could bring the blocks to either side of your legs because we're going to come into a Dandasana. And here we'll just hinge forward, groins hollow back, and come down, hands towards the blocks. Maybe you don't get there. Maybe the hands stay on the femur bones. Maybe the hands come to fingertips, palms, or you lower the blocks. Fluid breath, keeping length in the spine, inviting a stretch in the back body. Deep breaths. We alternate twisting with forward folding to release the spine from the twisting actions. And then we inhale back up to standing. Step the feet back in and pause in our seated meditation. For a moment, let your mind turn back towards the past and how it influences you in this present moment. It might be past feelings about poses, past feelings about yourself. And then let yourself come back to this present moment here, this breath. and feel into the perspectives you'd like to turn towards in the future. And take your legs around to the left. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple different options for this next pose. First option is that you'd bring your blocks in and step your right foot onto the blocks here, okay? The next possibility is that the heel will actually step up to the chair seat here, and you'll hug the torso towards the leg. The next option would be to twist towards the lifted knee. So you hug the right knee in with both hands and you twist to the right. Fluid breath. Shoulders broad. Again, you're bringing gentle compression into the abdomen. Feel that on one side. So if you ever have constipation, yoga twists can help you open the abdomen and get things moving. Let the breath come deep into the belly. And exhale, release. The next step of this pose is that you could step the blocks over to the pinky toe side of your left foot and step the foot over to the blocks. Or you could bring the right heel over to the chair. And again, hug the knee in and twist. It's going to bring you into more internal rotation. Now, some of you may be able to wrap your left elbow around your right knee and open the right arm behind you. Keep using the left arm to help you lift the heart and release the back of your collar. Fluid breath. Beautiful. And exhale. Unwind and release. Let's take it to the other side. Either bring the blocks in to the big toe side of your right foot and step the left foot up and twist here, or step the left heel onto the seat of your chair and wrap your right arm around the left knee and twist here. Draw the navel towards the left leg. Draw the breath deep into the belly and low back. And allow the body to help you create compression and release in the abdomen. It even happens if you're here. Down low, you can feel how you're getting a little more compression on the lymph nodes in the groins. 3-dimensional breath. Really try to feel the breath expand inside the torso. Feed the body with prana. And release. You can either step the blocks to the pinky toe side of the right foot and step the left foot over, or bring the left foot up onto the chair seat, or for me, you could even use the rail of the chair on these folded chairs. You could even draw the right foot pointed underneath you, more like we would do seated on the floor. Draw in the left knee, and maybe you wrap the crook of the elbow, the right arm around the left knee. And you may be able to open the left shoulder back and open the left arm. Let the posture and the lift of the spine be more important than how high the foot comes. Fluid breath. See if you can open spaces between the ribs. And exhale, unwind. And release back to center. And pause. One hand inside the other, palms up. thumbs touching. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Those of you who don't do external rotation can stay there. Those of you who do can bring your blocks into center and rest the pinky toe side of your foot on the block. Bring the palms of your feet together and the knees open wide. Baddha Konasana. Open wide across your collarbones and let the heart lift. Settle into your breath. Into your intentions for this practice. And exhale the knees together. Okay, let's come up from these seated positions and try a few standing twists before we come to the floor. You can release your strap off to the side and bring your chair to the left side of your mat. You may also want to use a block, some of you, so you could bring the block just in front of the chair. You'll step your right foot up even with the chair or block and the left foot behind it and back. Okay, so you take your rock step and we'll come into our revolved triangle. So we rock step. Our heels are aligned with our sit bones, so we're not on a tightrope. And those of you with, if you've just had a hip surgery or you have this tendency to drop your back leg femur bone forward, you hug it back into the hip socket. Now here we inhale and reach for the sky. And we exhale into our Parsvottanasana. Draw both femur bones back into the pelvis as you hinge forward. Bring your left hand to your prop and open your right wing. Feel for the right shoulder blade on the back and lengthen the spine. Feel for the space between the vertebrae before you ground into the legs and float the right wing skyward. Opening across the wingspan. Now, we have this tendency to let the collar come up around the neck. Really release the collar down. Fluid breath. Everybody for a moment, exhale. Release your wing, unwind. Now bring your right hand to your hip. And as you twist, begin from the base, twist up, up, up the spine. Find the right shoulder blade strong on the right back. Draw it up and draw it down toward your hip. Yes, there we go. Feel into the space around your neck. Now let the right arm float up. Try to keep that space around your neck. Beautiful. Fluid breath. Now keep lengthening the neck out. Unwind the twist, but keep your arm floating up. Lengthen the spine one more time and float the right wing skyward again. Yes, beautiful. Much more room in your collar. Fluid breath. And exhale, release the right wing, float up, reach for the sky, exhale, hands to the heart, step into mountain pose. Fluid breath. And let's take the chair to the other side. All right, so here we step the left foot forward and right foot behind the props. Left foot parallel to the props. And we open as wide as is possible for us to keep that back femur bone back in the pelvis. So we hug in the banks of our river and then we let that femur bone sit back without hyperextending the back knee. And we inhale, reach the arms skyward. And exhale, hinge forward. We release the right hand to our prop. Now, some people may even want a block on top of the prop. That's okay too. Or come to fingertips or your palm. Float the left wing. Let's float the left hand onto our hip. And as you come into the twist, bring the left shoulder blade onto the back. Let the left shoulder blade guide you into the twist. Now don't drop that back leg femur bone into the front of the hip socket. Keep it reaching back. Beautiful. Nice, solid foundation, everyone. Now exhale, unwind the pose, release your left wing and float the left wing up, left shoulder blade on the back. Rooting into the four corners of your feet, lengthen the spine and float the left wing open. Yes, the collar still open. Fluid breath. Feeling into this present moment, this pose, this opening tissue. And exhale, release. Float the arms skyward, hands to the heart, step into your mountain pose. Fluid breath. Let yourself rest here, releasing tension from the fingers and the palms, from the lengths of your arms, from the tissue of the neck and shoulders. Three-dimensional breath. Okay, let's come to the floor. Let's have our chair at the end of our mat for later. And let's bring our blocks in underneath our feet. Have your yoga strap handy. And you may want a pillow or whatever blankets you might want for Shavasana. Bring your blocks down to the foot of your mat in a position that your feet can stand on them with your heels aligned with your sit bones. So we're going to roll back so that we can come up into a bridge with our feet on the blocks. Now, let your back just unfold onto the floor. We did a lot of good twisting, opening in the body today. So we'll unwind a little of that. Lift one hip and then the other and come into your somatic walking. Just lifting the hip and releasing it down, lifting the other side, releasing it down. Let the knee move forward out over the toes as the hip lifts, feet firmly on the blocks. High-stepped somatic walking. Relax your spine. If you have to lift it off the mat for a minute to create more space for it, then do. And as your hips rock, let your head rock. Invite the spine to unwind, to relax back into the hug of gravity. Fluid breath. Released and relaxed shoulders and face and jaw. Now walk your buttocks a little closer to the blocks. Bring your arms up into a robot arm position and exhale and lift the pelvis. Now here again, come into your somatic walking, lifting one hip higher than the other and then the other hip. And your glutes, low back, and hamstrings get to help with this work. And we change our orientation with gravity. And we swing our hips gently side to side. We come back to center and we pulse. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we exhale and we roll down one vertebrae at a time. Think of releasing and relaxing the vertebrae towards the floor. each one like you're letting go the tension between them. Come into your neutral lumbar curve, and then on your next exhale, roll up, peeling the spine off one vertebrae at a time. Now, it's normal if you feel like that's not possible, that your spine moves in chunks. You just keep feeling into the possibility of that tissue warming up, stretching out, and allowing one vertebrae at a time to release. If we keep a fluid spine, we will have more mobility in our lives. We inhale into our neutral curve, and we exhale when we're ready to roll back up again, following your own breath. When you get to the top this next time, stay lifted. Take a few breaths. Pelvis really high in relationship to gravity. Hamstrings and glutes and low back working. Let the front body rest onto the strong back body. And then roll down one more time. So you can stay with this, or if your blocks are on low, you can roll them to medium as long as that doesn't feel too unstable. Or if you'd like to try the next step, you can lift your feet, make sure your chair is on the sticky mat so that it won't slide away from you. You can lift your feet onto the edge of the chair and come into your bridge on high. And exhale and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. So you decide how high you want to go. You can roll a little higher in the thoracic spine if you place your feet on the chair, but that is not at all required. And if you have neck issues, it may not feel comfortable to come that high. Exhaling the movement. We inhale into the top and bottom positions. And we let our concentration, dharana, really rest in the mobility of the spine. When you've lowered yourself back down again, if you enjoy coming into external rotation, you can bring your feet together and let your knees open into a high Baddha Konasana, getting a hip opener, or you can just drape your calves over the seat of the chair. Fluid breath. Now, if your femur bone isn't long enough to feel comfortable with your legs draped over the chair, the Baddha Konasana might feel more comfortable. Fluid breath. And then those of you in Baddha Konasana can rest your calves on the chair or bring your feet back to the edge of the chair, lift your pelvis, place a block or your bolster or a folded blanket underneath your pelvis, and release your calves onto the chair. Coming into your waterfall pose. This pose is particularly good for the circulatory and lymph systems in the body. It allows for easy flow out of the feet, through the legs, back to the groins, back down to the heart. And easier flow then from the heart into the neck and head. Imagine the river of Ananda now flowing in through the soles of your feet, through the bones and muscle tissue of your feet, the lymph veins down through the legs to wash through the knee joint, down the upper leg bones into the pelvis. Let this river of Ananda, of prana, flow through the pelvis, flow through the belly and back, through all the organs, through the intestines, the diaphragm, up into the lungs and the heart, into the lymph nodes of the armpits and neck, cleansing the body. Let this flow of Ananda and prana move through the shoulders, releasing tension, the neck, the jaw and the ears, sinuses, the eyes, tension that we hold in our forehead, and let it wash out through the crown. Invite the river to continue to flow, cleansing body, heart, and mind. If you're comfortable here, you can stay here for Shavasana. If you'd prefer to move into another position, please feel free to do so. Gently deepen your breath. And as your mind rises out of Shavasana, feel again into your perspective, into your past and your future, into where you are right now. Then feel into your intentions for this practice, into the power of choice. And gently choose how to move your body as you lift it out of Shavasana, stretching in whatever way feels good to you. Yawning if your body wants to yawn, sighing if your body wants to sigh. Stay with the sensations of your inner landscape. And then slowly bring yourself back up to a comfortable seat. Pause for a moment with your breath. The deepest of our 5 koshas is the Anandamaya kosha, the energy body. It's the energy that flows through all living beings. Feel into that Ananda. It's always there, always feeding us. Let's inhale our hands to our hearts. May we be conscious of our perspectives and of our choices. And may we enjoy tuning in to this inner landscape. Namaste. And thank you for your practice.